Welcome to Bluegrass Home and Garden TV. Bluegrass Home and Garden TV is brought to you by Jimmy Nash Homes, Comfort Heating and Air, Springhouse Gardens, Back Construction, Dinger's Hearth Patio and Grill, Buyer's Paradise Furniture, and by The Studio. Join us now for Bluegrass Home and Garden TV with Amber
Hey,
Kenora.
we're here with Springhouse Gardens, Richard Weber, and we're getting ready to show everybody some great ideas for some planters up for their windows, which is always fun. So tell us a little bit about what's going on here, because you've got a lot of things that don't look quite as familiar. So maybe some things we come to know.
This is one of our places that we like to try some new and different things. So these are some of the newer introductions. These are our window boxes outside of our landscape office. And the first thing that you need to know when you're doing any kind of planting is how much sun or shade your area gets. This area gets morning sun and afternoon shade. So just about anything that I want to try does very well here. So it's nice to have that opportunity. Plus we can monitor how much water this gets. When it rains, it doesn't get any natural rainfall, so we have to kind of hand water, but then you can put more water on it if it's too dry, or hold off if it gets too wet. So you never want to overwater your newly planted pots, but you also don't want them to go bone dry and wilt completely down. So whenever you're doing any kind of arrangement, whether it's a window box or a regular planter, you know how much sun, shade, but you also want to start out with a really good soil mix. And we talked about that in previous shows. So we replace our soil at least the top 3 or 4 inches. I've left the old dirt in here, the old soil, put the new soil in the top. And this already has its fertilizer and all that, and some water holding crystals. So look for a really good mix that allows you then not to have to do so much maintenance for it. When you're doing this, you want to pick something that put any of the tall things, like the really exciting things. Some people call those the thrillers. Put the thrillers in the back or in the middle.
Right?
That's right. The spillers are going to come over the edge, and the fillers are the things that are just going to kind of give you some bulk. So you got thrillers, fillers, and spillers, and try to pick things that kind of go together. So I always need to get some help from my ladies up in the garden center, because I'm kind of color challenged. But one of the things we looked at, purples and orange are complementary colors, and you got a little bit of gold. This is pretty much Picasso, which is a really unusual petunia. This is a little double mini petunia, which is kind of cool. Really beautiful little flowers. So I'm going with kind of a theme with the purples, the yellows, a little bit of white, and a little bit of kind of purpley pink. But you do kind of a nice combination of things. If you can get like what's called a color echo, you see how the underneath of that kind of matches and plays off of the color that's in here. If you can do things like that, even though it's very subtle, it helps tie things all together.
Absolutely. And then I see you've got the hostas, which we've talked a lot about, that are perfect for shaded areas. Now, here's a quick question for you. Actually, I have a couple, but I have a viewer who said she's had a problem this year. She has a hosta, actually a huge hosta, and something seems to be eating the bulbs.
Well, we've had a lot of problem with little critters called voles, and voles were very, very hungry this past winter. And a vole looks like a little mouse. It's kind of a cross between a mouse and a mole, but they run across the ground and they burrow in the grasses, and they come and they just nibble on lily bulbs, hosta crowns, and all that. So they're just eating them as food. So that's probably what it is.
And then real quick question, are you going to have to kind of divide these out year after year?
Well, it's funny that you asked, because last year they like it so much here with the morning sun and the afternoon shade that they were so big they were taking over my planters. These have been in here for about 4 years. And we leave them in here every year. But behind us here, we divided those very plants and got these babies last year. So we potted them up. Hostas are one of those kinds of plants that you can divide and make more and give them away, or use them in, somewhere else. But these are babies off of the ones that are still in the plant.
All right, well, that is all the time we have for right now. If people have questions for you, Richard, I know they do, because I get them all the time. How can they get hold of you?
They can give us a call at the Garden Center at 224-1417, or check us out online at springhousegardens.com, or on Facebook, where we'll be showing the progress of these window boxes all through the season. That's one of our favorite little features. People love to see how the window boxes grow.
All right, thanks.